You know how funny it is for someone to ask you, is that a pot holder on your shoulder? Huh, it is funny. It's a face. It's a face. I think that's the beauty too, not being able to, don't take yourself too serious. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't take yourself too serious. Have fun. I mean, that's kind of the point of art, right? It's the freedom in it to be able to create and express yourself or express a side of you. And sometimes it could be a trap, like you don't want to get too caught up in it to where either it overtakes you, but at the same time, it's like, some people really fight with what's the difference between your artistry or being an artist versus normal life. And yeah, I think, I've definitely been in that category. So it's a thin line, because it's something that's always on my mind. It's always ideas and always things that I would like to create or achieve or accomplish or try. So it's either between, like a fear of not doing it, a fear of, what would be the result on the other end of it. It could be strategic, whether it's just, planning, financial, partnerships, collaborations. So there's a lot of different factors. So I just try to keep a positive mind about it and just, kind of a positive projection of what I would like to see happen. Things don't always happen or always fall into place, but, that's the beauty of art. Sometimes you just got to create on the fly, and the audience, they don't know unless you tell them, unless you say, I messed up. It's part of the show. Slip and fall. Lay there for a minute. Wave to the audience. It's part of the show. I meant to do that. Now, if you break something, call the ambulance. So my official story of how I met Gregory Hines, officially. This was a very interesting night, and it's an interesting twofold in a couple of different ways also, because it was my graduation gift to go see Gregory Hines live in concert. I believe he was either on a small tour or just doing a few shows. And this particular show was at the Cerritos Performing Arts Center. And so my mother and a couple of family friends, we went to the show, and what we had strategically planned out, because we knew what his influence was on me, even at that time in high school, And I had even heard, even like the show leading up to it, heard about in his performances that, sometimes he opens up the floor and he brings people on stage to perform, whether it's just, any dancers in the house, please put on your shoes and come on up. And so what my mother and I did, we put a little package together. We went and got an envelope, a headshot, and a little resume, and I think it was a little handwritten letter in the envelope. So we came to the show early just so we could go backstage or try to go to the artist door and see if someone would deliver this envelope to Mr. Hines. And so, we went about it, we did it, and we went to the stage door and, talked to security, just said, could just someone please, it would just be, great if someone could just take this to him. I don't have to come in. I'm not trying to, do a meet and greet or whatever, but I just wanted to see if he would get this envelope, please. And so, they said they would, and all you can do is take their word at that time. And so we went back to the car and chilled for a little bit before the show. And so we went in, the show started, and we were kind of sitting in the front row of the balcony, like the lower tier balcony area. And so show started, it was great. And he came out and he performed, he did his thing, it was amazing. Singing and bits, and it had a connection to like the old school entertainment, but it was contemporary, it was cool, 90s, this was 95. And so it gets to the point of right after intermission, and we're just kind of waiting, watching the show, and didn't really anticipate anything happening. So he gets to the part of the show, he says, "Hey, so if there are any tap dancers in the house, now's the time to put your shoes on and come on up, get ready, put your shoes on." And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh, yo, and looked at my mom, I'm like, yo, my shoes are in the car. Like, I didn't even really process it, but I did have them on me just in case I would have an opportunity to maybe even dance for him, like after the show, And so, no, it happened. He said, "Everyone come on up." I grabbed the keys, ran outside to the parking lot to get my shoes out of the car. And meanwhile, inside, what was happening was, this was the portion I was told. They were saying that he seemed like he was stalling. He was stretching a little bit. He was like, "All right, is there anyone else in the house? Anyone else that might be a dancer that might have presented themselves? Anyone?" Just giving them a chance. If anyone's just taking their time trying to put their shoes on. And the person sitting next to us, they recognized what was happening and maybe overheard what we were talking about. They yelled to him on the stage. They said, "He went to get his shoes." And the whole audience started dying laughing. And so I came running back in because the ushers outside, they knew and saw what was happening. So like there was one usher at the door holding the door open for me. There was another usher at the side way entrance coming in to kind of lead back into the theater, was holding that door so that I can just kind of run in the theater and up to the stage. And it was so crazy because it all seemed planned, like that was kind of the visual of it. It felt like, okay, this is one of the ringers, or this was somebody that he had planted in the audience for the show. And so I just ended up happening to be on the end, so when I went up on stage. And it was probably about 9 or 10, 12 people on the stage. And so what was funny was that as I'm standing on stage, who was standing next to me was Lynn Dally from the Jazz Tap Ensemble. I've heard of her, but I had never met her, or also probably didn't even know what she looked like at the time. But I knew the company, and so she turns to me. She was like, "Oh, Channing, I know who you are. And I heard so much about you, and and we're like on stage having a conversation in the midst of like the show going on." And so Gregory's going down the line. He's like, "Okay, come on up, yeah, give us a couple of bars." And somebody would come up, and that person would dance, do their thing. And so they kind of came down the line, and he just kind of walked over to me, just kind of giving me that look, that nod, like, yeah, I knew you was here. I got the envelope. Like, all that was said non-verbally. And so I just kind of gave him a nod and, just accepted it. And I understood the assignment. And I went out and did my thing. I'm sure I danced maybe twice as long as everybody else. And then from that point, he came back out on the stage where we were, and he started dancing, and we were trading, and we were the only two that we were trading back and forth out of this group on the stage at that time. And so after that, then he brought everyone back in, and we did the shim sham, and then we did the call and response, his famous call and response. And so it just kind of jammed. It went on for a minute, and then after that, I'm literally standing next to him on stage. And, again, so the optics of it looked like I was a ringer, looked like I was pre-planned, but none of this was planned. And so, yeah, so the number ended, and he grabbed me, gave me a pound, pulled me in. He was like, you got it in my ear. He's like, you got it, man, you got it. All right. And so then everyone walked back to the audience, back to their seats. The crowd was clapping, everyone was going crazy, loved it. And so he finished the show out, probably another 15 minutes or so to end the show. And then at the end of the show, he goes backstage, lights come on, audience, people are kind of talking and mingling still in the audience, in the theater. And so one of the ushers walks over to me and says, Mr. Hines would like you to come backstage. I was just like, yo. My mom was like, just go ahead, go. You go. I don't have to come back there, like, you go. And so I followed the usher backstage to the dressing room, and who was sitting back there was Lynn Dowley, Gail Hooks, who was the manager of the company, and my tab teacher, Alfred DeCio, who I studied with. And Alfred was sitting in there smiling because he knew, he saw it, and he felt that this was a great moment. And because he stayed in the audience that night. And then Lynn was there because they were connected, and they were close with Gregory, and same with Gail. And so they're all just kind of like, yeah, what's going on? Like, welcome, nice to meet you. Like, I'm proud of you, and like, hey man, what's up? Like, I get it, I see you. And yeah, really just from that night, it just spawned like a whole another trajectory for me in my career. I went on to join Jazz Tap Ensemble a couple of years later, from talking to Gail, because right immediately in that day, that moment, they were asking me like, yo, what's your plan? What are you doing? Are you going away? Are you going to school? And I was like, no, I'm leaving. I'm leaving like in 3 days, going to school in Oklahoma, and yeah, so I'm gonna pursue that and see what happens. So, and she was like, if anything happens, if you change your mind or you come home or whatever, like when you come back home and you want to continue dancing your career, like you want to do something, especially back in LA, please give me a call and we can make something happen. We'd love for you to join our company. I was like, oh, that's dope. And saying Gregory was so open, and same difference. Like, he gave me his phone number too. He's like, hey man, like, you ever need anything, call me. Like, I'm here. Like, none of the extras that come with, being a huge star. He was always down to earth and super cool. And Alfred, he was just so proud, man. He was just, he had a proud papa moment for him. Because he was like, I see you standing on your own, you doing your thing. And it was really cool. And just, a lot of that is just kind of history from there, between my connection, my work with Jazz Tap Ensemble, to working with Gregory on a few different projects and working with him. But it was just, having that connection with him, where he would just call and be like, hey, show up for this fundraiser we're doing. I'm like, what are we doing? And he's like, just show up. And we would come and improvise and just make a show out of nothing being planned. But that's just, what we do as tap dancers, for one, but also just how open and how cool he was. He knew who to give the freedom to. And that's my story.